Hey, hello, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about performing arithmetic operations with variables. Most of it's what you expect when you do arithmetic, just like on paper, just like in math class, but some of it is a bit different. So let's switch to the PowerPoint. So all the basic arithmetic operations work: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and as well the order of operations apply. So it's PEMDAS except exponentiation. Raising to a power is missing here. So a little bit more on this later in a future slide. So in the absence of parentheses, Java will evaluate things as they are in math from left to right. So the order of operation is not suspended in Java programming. So everything works as expected except division involving two integers. So here's an example where we have int a equal 10 and int b equal 3, and when we divide 10 by 3, it outputs 3. Because when there are two integers involved in division, it checks only to see how many times the denominator goes into the numerator, which in the case of 10 divided by 3 is only 3 times. 3 goes into 10 completely only 3 times. And that's the answer that Java will give when there's integer division. In all other cases, an int and a double, two doubles, it will give the expected result, which is 3.33. But in integer division, the answer 10 divided by 3 is 3. So there's even more to that. There's one left over when 10 is divided by 3. And this is captured using the modulus operator. It's a percentage sign, as you can see. So when you go a modulus b, it outputs 1. And that is the remainder of when 3 goes into 10. So we need to add modulus to the order of operations, and it fits right in there with all the other division and multiplication coming before addition and subtraction. So please update your PEMDAS when you're Java programming to include modulus, something that only happens between two integers. So everything works the same except for integer division and modulus. Everything except exponentiation. So raising to a power and a lot of other things, I invite you to search on Java Math Library and just see how many things you can do with it. But some of the common ones that we're going to use in this course are math.pow. The example here raises 10 to the power of 2, 10 squared, 100. Math.square root takes the square root of a positive number, not an absolute number. I'll adjust that. And that would be 5. The min, the lesser of two numbers, the min in this case of 10 and 2 is 2 because it's the lesser of two numbers, and likewise math.max, the greater of two numbers is 10. You can take a negative number and get its absolute value, which is positive 7. And at times we'll be using, and not today, math.random, which returns a floating point number greater than or equal to 0.0 and less than 1.0. So remember, there's no e in PEMDAS. If you want to raise to a power first before doing arithmetic, use the parentheses, as in the example here. So what we're going to do is we'll do 100 times 5, 500, and then add 17. So the answer is 517 and not something else. And we'll recall the lowest of the low, the assignment operator. And when all else happens, except in the weirdest cases, then the assignment happens. So first it's going to add 100 to 5, and then it will make the assignment in this case. So the last in order of priority, and I think it's useful to mention that, is the assignment operator. So that's what we're doing here, and I'm going to switch over to Replit and go with that. So likewise, I'm going to zoom up a little bit just to 200 and take you a look. Alright, so we've already said that everything in between the beginning and ending of the main function is what gets executed when the program starts. So we have quite a bit here, and what we have here is A, B, C, D. And in this case they're int A and B and double C and D. So these types of operations will result in some expected thing. A plus B is 103, A minus B is 97, A times B is 300. However, we do know that 100 divided by 3 will be something completely different. Okay, that's 33. And the remainder would be 1. The minute we do a mixed type operation of an int and a double, we're going to get a double. So I really don't need this one here, and I'm just going to delete that. That's a bit of a repeat. Let me just kind of introduce you to the idea of entering from the keyboard. So looking up here on line 1, we have import java.util.scanner, and here I'm creating a scanner that will allow me to enter in information from the keyboard. So I've called my scanner scan, and I use it here in asking the user to input an integer and then asking them to input a double, and having the method next double, which is part of the scanner class, work for me to enter in that value. And so I output them. And let me just go ahead and run this program, and you can see how it works. (103) A plus B, 97, 100 minus 3, 100 times 3 is 300. A 100 divided by 3 is 33, because it's involving two integers and it is integer division. And the remainder here is 1. So what happens is when I do the same operation, A divided by D, I get a mixed type operation involving an int and a double, and I get the full number. Now it's pausing right here on line 22 for me to enter in a number, and I will just enter in 12. And this one I'll put in 12.5. And the new value of A is 12, it's changed, and the new value of C is 12.5. So we've added a little bit here. We wanted to show you, one, how to make a scanner after importing the scanner class, and how to use the scanner to input an integer and a double. So there will be an exercise for you to practice these skills, and good luck with the math part. I want to summarize it a bit for you now. Okay, today what we learned is that you can perform basic arithmetic operations with variables, and everything works the same except that integer division and or calculating the remainder with modulus work a bit differently. And in that situation, when you're performing with two ints, you'll either get the number of times it wholly goes in with using the modulus operator to derive the remainder. The other thing that we covered here today is how to use the math library to raise things to a power and find the square root and add functionality to your program. And lastly, when we went in and looked at the screen, we used the scanner class and created a scan object that would call next int and next double and allow us to input from the keyboard. So now we have what I would consider a full understanding of variables, with the exception of one last thing. The subject of next video, casting. Bye for now.